Hello, everyone. I'm going to be doing a very quick 4.2 test review. Make sure that you study it, make sure you know it, make sure you know these words. I'm going to leave the top one alone just because this is exactly like the 4.1, and hopefully you can do that one fairly quickly. I'm going to jump down and we're going to talk about number 2, what's the greatest common factor? Greatest common factors are GCF, and I can actually find this in the calculator. So to get here, I would do math, num, and then 9. So math over 9. And there's 3 rules here. I can only put numbers. So no letters, no negatives, and only 2 numbers at a time. So right here, I have a 3, a 15, and a negative 12. So I can only do 2 numbers at a time. So I'm going to do 3, 15, and then I'm going to hit enter. Okay, so this GCF is 3. And then I'm going to take the GCF and the last number. I'm going to go math num 9, 3, 12. And it's going to tell me that this one's 3. That is my GCF. You should be able to do that for the remaining 2. All right. Number 3, using the figure below, what are the dimensions? Dimensions. So let's talk about the word dimensions. Another word for dimensions is my factors, my sides, and I even call them the walls. Okay, so the dimensions of my room are the walls of the room. Okay, so what are the dimensions in terms of X if the area is this? So here's my area, so that's the inside. Area is my inside. And I want to know the sides. I want to know what's here and what's here. So to do that, I need to break it apart. First thing I want to actually do is I'm actually going to erase what I just did. Is I actually want to see, can I just take the GCF out and find my sides? So GCF of 1 and 5, math num 9, 1, 5 is a 1. And then 1 and 24, math and this does not take a lot of brain power or math power on this one, because it's just typing in my calculator like I would on my cell phone. So my GCF is 1, so I don't get to change anything. So now I have a square, x squared. I need to break the square apart. I want to know what the 2 sides of that square are. So I need to use my box to find the outside. And in order to do that, I need to know what to put inside. So I know that my x squared is on the inside. I know that my negative 24 is on the inside. I need to figure out what these 2 can add up to be my negative 5. So some teachers do my x, some teachers do a t. I like a t. I know that this is going to be a times c. So 1 times negative 24 is going to be negative 24. So that goes there. Okay, now I need to break apart negative 24. So I'm going to do that number, negative 24 divided by 1. And it's going to be able to tell me my factors. Oh, I just made a quick mistake. So this would be 1 times negative 24. And then I'm going to do negative 24 divided by 2. So 2 times negative 12. Negative 24 divided by 3. Negative 8. I have to keep going, I think. Negative 24 divided by 5. That's a bad one. Negative 24 divided by 6. So, all right, well, I'm running out of room, so I'm going to do another t right here. I'm going to do 6 times negative 4. Remember that I'm trying to get to a negative 5. Oh, I found it. This one right here. I'm always going to circle it because then I know that 3 plus negative 8 will get me a negative 5. So I now know my 2 sides. I do 3x here and negative 8x. because I was able to get to a negative 5x over here. Okay, now I get to do my GCF again. So I get to go math num 9. I'm going to check my GCF here. There's 1 and a 3. So 1, 3, and I get a 1. Then I can do the exact same thing. My x is to go because they both have an x. 1x times 1x gets me a 1x squared. 1 times something is negative 8, so negative 8. And then 1 times something gets me a 3, so it's going to be a 3. And then I can check and I can go 3 times negative 8 gets me negative 24. So my 2 dimensions, and it doesn't matter which one is which, my length would be 1x plus 3, and my width would be 1x minus 8. So I was able to find my 2 sides by taking my area and working backwards. As remember, area means to multiply 2 sides together. So I would take my outsides to go inside, but if I have my area, I have to work my way out. Okay. The area of the rectangular garden is given by this expression. Which of the following represents the length and the width? Okay, if I'm given something, I'm given the area. So my area, and I'm going to write that right here. My area is x squared plus 7x plus 12. There's my area. Which of the following would represent the length and the width? Well, to find my area, I multiply length and the width. So this one is actually saying that one of these has to equal this one. So I get to use my calculator. I get to go, okay, well, x squared plus 7x plus 12. And then in one of, oh, sorry, gotta delete one of those twos. Okay, I'm going to choose one of these, and I'm going to do this one right here first. I'm going to go parentheses and put it in exactly as I see it. That's why that hint says, how could a calculator help you? And then I'm going to go second table. I'm going to go look at what happened. Well, I can see right now that it says 12, 12, 20, 20, 30, 30, 42, 42, 56. All of these are the same. So this one is my maybe because it's equal. It's saying that if that was my length and my width, would I get there? And I can actually check that. So really quick, I just want to, if that's my answer, I don't want to have to do more work. So I'm going to go, okay. If this is my length, r plus 4, and this was my width, r and 3, I go, okay, r times r is r squared. R times 4 is 4r. 3 times r is 3r. 3 times 4 is 12. These two get added together. Remember, there's an addition sign right here. Okay, so I would end up with a 7r. So then I would go, okay, my answer was r squared plus 7r plus 12. Ooh. So I know that I was able to do that. I was able to double check that that was my width and my length. All right. Number 5, which expression is equivalent to this one right here? You got to think about, what does the word equivalent mean? And you should say that it means equal. So I would take this one exactly as I see it. Now I put it into the calculator. So I would go a clear and clear, go back up. 4x squared plus 29x minus 24. Okay, and I'm always going to just start with the top option and go down. So I'm going to go parentheses 4x plus 3 parentheses. And because, yes, this is a second set of parentheses, but it's the same answer option, the whole thing's going to go in. So 2 sets of parentheses on this one. And I'm going to go second table. So negative 24 and 24, 9, 63. So A is definitely not equal. Okay, so I could check the second one. Leave the first one in. Leave the first one in. Go to the second one. Clear the second one. Let's try letter B. Negative 24, positive 24. Nope, B doesn't work either. So we're halfway done. Let's try another one. Let's try C. So notice I'm not going to clear this one this time. I'm going to go down, and it already says 4x minus 3. The second one says x plus 8. So instead of erasing the whole thing, I'm just going to go highlight that minus sign and change it into a plus sign. And then I'm going to go check. Negative 24, 9, 9, 50, 50, 99. Okay, this one is a maybe. And then I'm going to go check. I want to go make sure. Like, why wouldn't I make sure? So I know that if that one's equivalent, I've got a binomial here. So 4x minus 3. And we know that this one is an x and an 8. I know that I'm going to use the box to multiply because there's no symbol between those. 4x times x is 4x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. 4 times 8 is 32x. And 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. I add these two together. I can go 32 plus negative 3. So I get a 29. So I have 4x squared plus 29x minus 24. Looks perfect. There's multiple ways to do this. You could have just taken this knowing that these are the two sides of my box and factored it using the box in the T-chart, or you could use a calculator and prove it, or you could take your answer options, multiply them to come back up. There's 3 methods. So to miss this one is super frustrating. Okay. I'm going to leave number 6 for you to do because it's the exact same. If you do not have a calculator at home, you can go to Desmos calculator. Okay, I'll even show you what that looks like. You can literally just go to Desmos calculator right here. Okay, you want a graphing calculator. And I'll show you what to type in. So this is just like our calculator, to the point that we want to have the first one in. So I'm going to type in my 5, and you can put C's on this one. Okay. And then in the second one, oh, I got to make sure I put it as an equation. So I'm going to put y equals, so it graphs it. And then on the second one, I'm going to put one of my answer options. So parentheses, and I can still put C. I'm going to put y equals, so sorry, it has to be an equation. If you're wondering why it has to be an equation, when I go here, I'm putting it into the y equals screen. So the y's are already there. For this one, I have to put the y's. That's how Desmos is a little bit different. Okay, I'm going to put parentheses 2c minus 6, close them, open them, c plus 5. Okay, and I can see on a graph that these are not the same. If you wanted to see what a table looked like, if you click that and click on the table, and you can click on this one and convert it to a table as well, you can see that these two numbers, -2 and -2, do not have the same y value. Okay, so just be very, very cautious that you know how to use the Desmos. You could have literally just looked at the graph and go, these aren't the same. Okay, so I answered at least one of them for you, so we know it's not 8. So I narrowed it down. If you still don't understand Desmos, you can use this one right here, where you make your box, you put your 5c, you put your -6, you put your c, you put your 2. You can do the same thing, multiply them and figure out which one would be equivalent. Okay. All right, number 7 is using the box to help him find the missing terms in his factors and products. Which of the following represents the polynomial that is being factored? Fill in the 4 missing parts of the box for full credit. Okay, so this is kind of what we've been doing, but we've been doing it backwards. We've got this box right here, and I say, okay, have an x here. I'm missing a part. So x times what would give me x squared? Be an x. Well, I know to get this one, I do the whatever's on the left when the whatever's above. So x times 4 becomes 4x. Well, I can't do this one because I'm missing what's inside and what's outside, but I do know that 4 times -20, or I'm sorry, 4 times what would equal -20. Okay, and the way to do that is you could go, what is -20 divided by 4? And you get a -5. And then to find the last piece, it would be x times -5, which would get you -5x. Okay, so from here, it wants to know which of the following represents the polynomial, and right here, I'm gonna write area. So I'm gonna write inside. Okay, I wanna know what's on the inside of the box. So obviously there's an x squared, so yes, 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 yes. There's a -20, so -20, -20, -20, -20. The last piece is this one right here. Oh, and this one doesn't have anything. That comes from combining these two right here. So if I have a -5 and I add 4, which one of these, ooh, this one does not work because this one is a +20. So we have to go, okay, well, what would -5 + 4 get you? Will get you a -1x. So obviously not -9. That means D has to be the answer. If you didn't understand that one, I would go back and look at that one more time and try again. I will do number 8 and I'll help on number 9 as well. Okay, back to the following polynomials. Well, first thing I always do is I look for my GCF. Okay, so I'm gonna go math num 9. Because if all I have to do is take out a number and it makes my life easier. Okay, so my GCF of 10 and 6 is a 2. So I'm gonna divide by 2. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna pause on that actually. I'm actually gonna break this apart. I'm gonna say 2 times what and 2 times what. Okay, well then I can go, okay, 10 divided by 2 is 5. So 2 times 5. I'm gonna triple check that it goes back to 10. It does. And then 6 divided by 2 was a 3. And I'm gonna check 2 times 3. Yep, absolutely. Next thing I'm gonna look at is this one has an x times x times x. This one just has an x. So here's my first term. Here's my second term. I'm gonna say, okay, what's common in both? So here's a 2 in both. We figured that out. There's also an x, and that's it. That's all I can take out. So this was what came out of the box. What stays inside is a 5 and x times x, which would get you x squared. And then a 3, so plus 3. I can go back and I can check this and I can say, okay, let's make sure. So 10x, I put a square, but I want a 3. So I use my arrows to go back. Okay, plus, oops, one more, plus 6x. And then I'm going to put my answer in here. I'm going to say, okay, I just want to triple check that this one works. 5x squared, oops, plus 3. And we're good. So I know that this one is right on number 8. All right, number 9's a little bit different. I still have numbers. I still have numbers in front, so I can still do my GCF. So I'm going to go math num 9. And I'm going to go 3, 9. And some of you might ask, why did I not put a -3? There's rules. So right here, it is a 3. But because the first term is negative, my GCF is a negative. Okay. So I'm going to come down and say, okay, well, this is going to be -3 times something. And this is going to be -3 times something. So to figure out that second half, I take the original number and divide it by its GCF. So I get -3 times 1. And I take my original on the second one and I divide it by my GCF. And it becomes a 3. Then I look at my letters. This is c squared, so c times c. This is d to the third. 1, 2, 3. There's my first term all written out. I'm gonna do my second term. -3 times 3. It only has one letter with it, has the letter D. All right. So what's the same in both boxes? There's a -3 and there's the letter D. All right, so those two get to come out. Everything else gets put back together. So I have a 1. I have a c times a c, gets me back to c squared. I have a d times a d, which is d squared. And then over here, the only thing left was a 3, so plus 3. Here's the here's the different one. I can't test this in the calculator. I have to trust that I know how to do the math. Because this one has 2 variables in it, I cannot put it in the calculator. I cannot check it. Okay, so you're just gonna have to trust that you know how to do the math on this one. Okay. All right, number 10, which one is equivalent? We've already practiced this one. So this whole thing is gonna go into y1, and my answers are gonna go into y2. Just a reminder to put the fraction, you do alpha, y equals, and then enter to find the fraction, to put the fraction in. So just be careful. If you're using Desmos, it's a little bit easier. You literally just have to use the division sign and it'll create it. Okay. Number 11, if x plus 6 is a factor, what would my other factors be? So to do the factor, we know how to factor. We find the GCF first. Then once I find the GCF, I rewrite if I need to. I either do my T-chart or my diamond, and then I do my box. Because remember that another word for factors is my dimensions or the sides. Okay, so I'm going to leave that one for you guys to do. Oh, and look, the second one, or number 12, is exactly the same. My factor is my dimension or my side. So I'm asking what's out here. I'm asking what's here. So all these pieces have to go on the inside. Same thing here. Find your GCF, create your T-chart, do your box. Okay. Number 13, it says, which is a factor of the expression. So this one actually gives you multiple choice, but it doesn't tell you much more than that. So I still have to find my GCF. I still need to do my T-chart, and I still need to do my box. The only difference is I'll know that when I get it right, because I'll be able to find an answer. Okay. And there's quite a few of these on the test, which is why I need you to practice them right now and just not copy. So do your best. Just a reminder that this is my ax squared, this is my c, and then I get my 2 side terms based on this one right here. Okay, and I have a lot of circles, so I'm going to eliminate this one and that one. Okay. All right. I'm going to scoot down to 14 and 15. Farah used factoring. What is Farah's next step in simplifying her expression? So she used factoring. She factored the top one. She got this one. Okay, so from here, what should she do? Farah should, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Farah should cancel the binomial on top and bottom because they're the same. And then the correct answer would be whatever is left, which would be b minus 7. It says which factor is correct. Which factor is correct, and it wants us to divide. Okay, so what we're doing is we're taking 6m squared plus 9m plus 3 divided by m plus 1. And it's saying when I do that, which one of these would match? So really quick, I'm going to show you a little trick on this one. I'm going to come back to 14 really quick. It gave me this one, and it's saying what would the correct answer be? So I'm going to go triple check. I want to make sure that, like, maybe I didn't understand what she should do, but I should be able to find the answer. So I'm going to do 2x squared minus 13x minus 7. And on the bottom, I get 2x plus 1. And I'm going to go, okay, I want to triple check that my answer is x minus 7. I know that this one's dividing, but the goal is that it canceled some stuff out. So I'm going to go second. I'm going to go, does it match? It sure does. That is the correct answer. So I know that this is the correct answer. If it's not asking for, like, what is one of the factors, it's asking you to divide these two to find what remains. I can do the exact same thing over here. I can do 6x squared plus 9 plus 3. And down here, I can do x plus 1. And then I'm going to check my answer. I'm going to try this one first. So I'm going to say, okay, 3x minus 1. And I can go, okay, does this one match? I have 3 and negative 1. So immediately these don't, so it can't be A. Okay, so I'm going to check B. And I can even put my parentheses around it if you want to be certain that you're putting it in correctly. It's A, okay. So I have a 3 and a 3, but then I have a 9 and a 5 and a 15. Okay, so can't be B, but I'm going to go make sure that C works, because I might have typed something in wrong. I am human. We make mistakes. So on this one, I'm going to put a 3 in front and then a 2x plus 1. And I'm going to go check it. This one actually does work. So I didn't make a mistake. Do not always go to the last answer option, because it might have been you made a mistake when you typed them in the calculator. So be very careful. All right, I think there's one more question, and it literally says Jerry has worked the following polynomial by factoring using the box. What are Jerry's factors and his simplified polynomial? So really quick, we have to remember that factors are dimensions, or the sides, or the walls of my shape. So it's asking, what are these things out here? What's on the outside of my box? So to find that, I do my GCF. I say, okay, well, what would the GCF be of 6 and 9? So math, num, 9. Oh, sorry. I have to put my numbers in. 6, 9. And I say, okay, well, this one's 3. And I can do the same thing right here. I can do, okay, what would the GCF be of 8, 12? And I get a 4. And then I could do it here too. And okay, well, what's the GCF of 6 and 8? And I can get 2. And then same thing, 9 and 12. And I got a 3. Now be careful, because now all I have is numbers on the outside, and I have to put some letters places, and I might need to put some negatives. I can check, okay, 3 times 2 is 6. I have an r squared, so that means r times r. Okay, 4 times 2 is positive 8, but I've already checked this. 2 and 3 are good. So that means that this must be a negative. I can also know it's negative because the number on the inside is negative. So the number that's on its wall has to be negative as well. The 6 was positive, so positive. The 6 was positive, so positive. The 9 is negative, so negative. Okay, so I know that my factors are 3r minus 4 and 2r minus 3. My polynomial, this would be like my area, or the inside of my shape would be all the pieces on the inside. So I know, and I'm going to go ahead and erase these little pieces right here just so that I can see it. Okay. Oh, I didn't know not erase everything. Sorry. Okay, is to combine these two. That's what we're used to doing. So I know the first term, and I know my last term. I just got to find the inside. So what would -9, oops, -9 plus -8 would get me? Oh, y'all, I put an extra negative in there. Would get me a -17. So that's my inside. Okay. Make sure you turn this in. Good luck.